Another nerd science banger, Reno. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. Could Deathstroke survive John Wick? Deathstroke is a better assassin than everyone. I mean, like, John Wick is a grounded assassin. Deathstroke is a DC comic. This is only gonna go one way, and I think you guys know it, and I know it. I mean, could Deathstroke survive John Wick? Easily. Could John Wick survive Deathstroke? That's the question we should be asking, right?
Have you ever wondered what happens when an unstoppable force meets a soldier who literally cannot die? Picture the neon-lit hallways of the Continental, the gold coins, the suits, the code. Now drop a $14 million bounty on a man with a military-grade healing factor, 90% brain utilization, and a sword made of one of the hardest metals in DC Comics. The excommunicado bell rings. Every assassin in New York gets the notification. And Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, just became the most wanted man in the high table's history. So today, we're asking...
He's been messing with Deathstroke lately. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys like Deathstroke.
Real science question. Can enhanced biology actually survive a world designed to kill the unkillable? The doors of the red circle swing open and Slade steps in. He clocks 43 armed hostiles in under 2 seconds. That's not an exaggeration. That's his neurology working exactly the way it was
line everybody
designed
up.
to. The new 52 version of Slade Wilson underwent a military enhancement program that reconfigured his brain to operate at 90% capacity. What that extra capacity gives Slade is a processing speed roughly 9 times faster than baseline human. So, when the first hitman raises a Glock 17 and squeezes the trigger, Slade's motor cortex has already calculated the bullet's exit angle, muzzle velocity, around 370 meters per second for a standard 9mm, and the optimal head rotation to avoid it. He doesn't dodge it because he's lucky. He dodges it because his brain physically has more time to think than yours does. But the Continental assassins don't stop at one shot. They open up with everything. 9mm handguns, MP5 submachine guns, a couple of shotguns near the back bar. And here is where the Promethean armor becomes the real story. Promethium is a fictional metal in DC's universe, but writers have consistently treated it as having extraordinary tensile strength and molecular density. If we apply real material science here, the closest real-world analog is a tungsten carbide composite, which has a tensile strength of around 550 megapascals and nearly zero plastic deformation under ballistic impact. The 9mm rounds aren't penetrating, they're bouncing. The kinetic energy still transfers. That's physics. You can't get around Newton's third law. The tissue underneath isn't pulp. Slade feels pressure, not penetration. He draws the Promethean sword and moves through the room with the kind of mechanical efficiency that looks almost boring to watch until you realize every single cut is biomechanically optimized. His enhanced proprioception, his body's spatial awareness, lets him position each strike to sever tendons and disrupt balance rather than just slash randomly. 43 men, 91 seconds. The math is brutal, but here's the problem. 43 bodies on a nightclub floor isn't subtle. The high table's communication network lights up immediately. Reinforcements are already moving in. Slade can hear them, literally. His enhanced auditory processing picks up radio chatter until it blocks out. And staying above ground now means getting swarmed by a second wave carrying heavier gear. So, he goes down. There's a service tunnel beneath the red circle that connects to the old subway infrastructure running under Manhattan. Slade drops through a maintenance hatch and disappears into the dark. The standard hitmen couldn't touch him, but standard hitmen were never the real test. The high table has enforcers who carry armor-piercing ammunition specifically because regular rounds don't always work on high-value targets. And somewhere below the streets of New York, those enforcers are already waiting. The first tier is done. Slade's armor is clean. His healing factor hasn't even been...
Yeah, this is just like a super straightforward one, though. Like, I mean, not really much to say, right?
...activated yet. Tier 1 survival grade, S. 43 hostiles, 0 meaningful damage.
He's just going around taking out assassins, lesser assassins.
Every threat before it landed, and his healing factor sat completely idle the entire time. The catacombs beneath Manhattan aren't on any city map. They're a network of decommissioned utility corridors, old Prohibition-era tunnels, and forgotten infrastructure that the High Table has quietly maintained for exactly this kind of situation. Slade moves through the dark without a flashlight. He doesn't need one. His enhanced visual cortex processes ambient light at a sensitivity level closer to a nocturnal predator than a human soldier. But the enforcers down here already knew that, so they aren't hiding in the dark.
Hey guys, forget all you know about AI.
They're getting ready to flash him.
They're waiting in a choke point.
The OnlyFans model photos.
Lights and 12-gauge shotguns loaded with Brennicky armor-piercing slugs. The first slug catches Slade square in the chest. He staggers. 2 ribs crack. You can actually hear the sound echo off the tunnel walls, and for a half second, Slade Wilson is genuinely hurt. But this is where the new 52 healing factor earns its reputation. Slade's cellular regeneration isn't passive background maintenance like some healing factors in comics. It's active, prioritized, and fast. He pulls 2 fragmentation grenades, calculates the blast radius against the tunnel geometry, his 90% brain utilization makes that essentially instant, and rolls them both toward the choke point with the timing precision of a billiard shot. The enforcers break formation. Slade closes the gap in 4 seconds and takes the rest apart in close quarters. Then, the ceiling comes down. The grenade blast compromised a support joint 30 meters back, and the whole section folds. Slade punches through a wall to his left, comes out through rotted brick into a different tunnel system entirely, and immediately recognizes where he is. The Bowery King's territory. And then, from somewhere in the dark, a voice.
Deadpool.
Oh wow, Deathstroke, the mercenary. I feel like we've had a whole thing about who the real sword guy is, and now you're really just showing up in my city during my bit? The motor-mouth figure in red and black spandex lasts about 40 seconds before the rest of the Bowery King's crew closes in from every direction. And Slade shifts his focus back to the actual threat, but those 40 seconds cost him, because now his left arm has 3 fresh slash wounds. His healing factor is already managing 2 jobs at once, and the tunnel ahead is full of people who want him dead. Tier 2 survival grade, B. He made it through, but the cost was real.
But
2 cracked ribs from blunt force trauma transfer.
okay, so yeah, I was about to say, does this survive John Wick or what? Because but I'm guessing movie-wise John Wick, not like the actual character John Wick, because I'm like, where the hell is John Wick in all this?
3 slash wounds from the Bowery crew, and a healing factor now running parallel repair jobs on a finite metabolic budget. Slade finds the glass room because the glass room wants to be found. It's a subterranean chamber somewhere beneath Midtown, mirrored panels on every wall, floor to ceiling, angled at precise geometric intervals. It looks like an art installation. It's actually a kill box. And standing in the center of it, arms folded, completely still, is Zero. Behind him, arranged in the darkness between the mirrors, are
I was just thinking about
Slade
Zero
can count
too.
the reflections. 14 of
From X-Men Origins. If any of you guys have seen X-Men Origins, you remember Zero, where he does the pistol thing in the beginning. That's why I did that earlier. I was just thinking about him too.
them. He notes the katanas.
But that's not the same Zero.
The way
That's
they're deliberately
different Zero.
not breathing loud. His enhanced auditory processing picks up their heartbeats anyway. Zero doesn't speak, he draws. This is pure blade work, and the science of it matters. Zero students are carrying carbon steel katanas, high carbon 1095 steel. But Slade's Prometheum sword isn't a modern tactical alloy. Its molecular density, as established by New 52 canon, puts it in a different material category entirely. Their blades don't cut his blade cuts theirs.
Yeah.
The full problem isn't swords. The problem is the cuts getting through the gaps. Full Prometheum plate doesn't cover everything. The joints flex, the neck moves, and Zero students aren't targeting center mass like the Hitmen did. They're trained to find the seams. Over the first 90 seconds, Slade takes 7 shallow cuts. Forearm, left shoulder, right knee joint, twice across the back. None of them individually serious. His stamina is dropping. You can see it in his movement economy. The strikes getting marginally shorter, the footwork fractionally slower. Still faster than any normal human, but not the same Slade who walked into the red circle. He adapts. He stops trying to track their bodies directly and starts reading the mirror reflections. One by one, he eliminates them. Zero is last, and Zero is different. He's not trying to kill Slade. He's trying to map him, probing for responses, cataloging reaction patterns, looking for the neurological gap. He finds it, a nerve cluster along the left trapezius, and a precise strike that sends a paralytic signal cascading down Slade's left side. Slade's arm drops. Zero falls a half a second later, but the damage is done. Slade is standing in a room full of bodies with one working arm. A healing.
I'm trying to understand, how the hell does he find a gap in his brain activity? If he's using so much brain power, how the hell is he even able to map out like a second where his brain is not consciously reacting? Yeah, I don't know.
Factor running on fumes, and the very specific, very familiar sound of Italian leather shoes on concrete coming from the corridor behind him. Tier 3 survival grade, C. He cleared the room, but Zero found the neurological gap and temporarily took a limb offline. The healing factor is now running at something close to its metabolic ceiling. Each new repair job is measurably slower than the last. He won the tier. His biology is losing the war of attrition. John Wick doesn't run, he
There
walks.
he is.
That's the thing people miss about him. The pace is deliberate, and it's psychological. Every step is information he's gathering, terrain he's mapping, angles, he's filing away. He's carrying a Terran Tactical Pit Viper, custom tuned for a shorter reset and a heavier slide to manage recoil at speed. And a pencil, because of course he has a pencil. Now here's where the science of this matchup gets genuinely interesting, because
I once saw him kill 2 men in a bar with a pencil. Fucking pencil. Oh man, I love the first John Wick movie when the kid who killed his dog was talking to his father, and his father had just found out that John Wick was the person that his son like stole his car from and beat up his dog or whatever. He's like, when he's leaving him, he tells, or his son's like, please, I could do this, Dad. Like, I could finish it. And he's like,
you will do nothing because you can do nothing. So get the fuck out of my sight.
Because like, bro, you're not doing anything to John Wick, brother. You're not gonna do anything to a person with the name of Baba Yaga. I promise you that.
Slade and Wick represent two completely opposite survival philosophies. Slade is engineered perfection, optimized inputs, optimized outputs, a biological system running at theoretical maximum. Wick is chaos with a framework. His combat psychology is built around improvisation, around reading the situation and finding the solution that shouldn't exist. That unpredictability is actually a tactical weapon against someone like Slade, because Slade's 90% brain utilization is fantastic at processing known variables. Wick keeps generating new ones. Wick opens with the pistol, targeting the joint gaps Zero's students already mapped. Left knee, right shoulder seam. He's trying to restrict movement. Center axis relock lets him fire at angles that force Slade to move in specific directions, hurting him toward the one corner of the room where the mirror geometry blocks the ambient light completely. Slade absorbs 2 rounds through the right shoulder joint, charges through the pistol's line of fire, and closes to grappling range. This is theoretically where his superior muscle density ends it. Slade's enhanced physiology puts his functional strength well above Olympic-level human benchmarks.
He'll drop John in a second.
Fast twitch fiber composition,
close
connective
quarters,
tissue tensile strength. In a pure strength contest, Wick loses badly. But Wick doesn't fight strength contests. He fights leverage contests. The moment Slade's hands close on him, Wick drops his weight, redirects the grip using a Kazushi entry, and transitions into a hip throw that uses Slade's own forward momentum against him. Slade hits the glass floor hard, and in the same motion, the pencil comes down toward the eye slit. It stops 2 millimeters short. Slade caught the wrist with his working hand. His grip is crushing. He can feel Wick's radius bone starting to flex under the pressure. But he also knows, right now, in this moment, that it doesn't matter, because Wick's other hand is already moving. And even if Slade breaks the wrist, Wick will keep coming. He will always keep coming. So Slade makes the only rational decision left. He reaches into his belt, pulls the flashbang, and detonates it point blank. The glass room goes white. Slade is already moving, punching through the far mirror panel and disappearing into the corridor before the flash fully clears. He doesn't win, he survives. Tier 4 survival grade, D. 2 rounds through the right shoulder joint, a near miss pencil to the eye, and a point blank.
He got a D for fighting John Wick? No way.
His healing factor is maxed out. His tactical advantage.
Again, let's all remind nerd science. Deathstroke fights Batman for a living. You mean to tell me if Batman was to fight up against John Wick, Batman might get almost cooked too or something like that? Not that Batman and Deathstroke are the same, but you know, they're kind of the same caliber, but yeah, obviously Batman's a little higher, but Deathstroke he's up there in terms of his combat capabilities. But yeah, I don't know. John Wick should have been easily cooked here.
Brain utilization processing known variables.
Like Deathstroke is the best assassin in the John Wick universe. If Deathstroke is going to be in the John Wick universe, he's the best assassin.
Neutralized by an opponent who just kept generating new ones. He escaped. That's the grade. Escape, not victory.
He could have easily got
Slade
victory.
patches a shoulder wound on a rooftop, watching Wick reload 6 stories below. His healing factor is maxed out. He's alive, but just barely. Who wins if this fight goes to the absolute death? Drop your answer in the comments. If you want more science breakdowns like this one, subscribe. We do this every week.
Just like Leon, Wick gets, he gets his dog bag cover because Wick is cooked against Deathstroke, right? Like, there's just no way. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys are thinking. Does Wick even stand a chance? Like, can he even look at him for 5 seconds before he's already like dead. You know what I mean? Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. Hope you guys are enjoying these. Stay tuned tomorrow for more Nerd Science, of course. Thank you, Nerd Science, for another banger. And yeah, I'm out. Wish.